Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the channel. I'm at the State of Delaware Surplus Vehicle Auction Lot. This is the day after the auction ended. I wanted to come out here and get a rapid fire snapshot of the selling prices of the vehicles that were here. Now, quite a few of these cars I bid on, got outbid. One I came home to winner on. I'm excited about that, but I paid a lot of money for that car at the same time. And that was a general theme here at this auction. These cars sold for a lot of money, more than I thought they would have. One of the cars that I listed in the preview video previously, it's a 1956 Chevy grain truck, the 1.5 ton. It's a V8. I listed it as a 57 in the preview video, but the listing calls it a 56. Every one of the vehicles here sold. This one got 22 bids placed on it, and the high bid ended up at $3,566. And then if you remember lot 904, it's a 2014 Ford F-150, 127,000 miles on it. This thing picked up 33 bids on this thing. Final hammer fell at $13,250. And look, right next to the truck, under the big tree, this poor Crown Vic, man, this thing got plastered all over it. Lot 917. There were 2 Crown Vics that came in from the Department of Justice. This is one of those 2. And my experience with the Department of Justice cars is that they're outstanding. They're excellent. Low idle hours, well cared for, not left, you know, parked on the street somewhere. They're not in races and chases. These things are generally really well cared for. This one proved that with the bidding, in that it picked up 28 bids at a final price of $4,870. And right next to the Crown Vic is a 2001 Durango, 102,000 miles. This is one I was bidding on also. 5 minutes before the auction was getting ready to close, bidding was at $900. I jumped in there hoping to snag this thing for a steal. It has one little rust spot on it. It's not a big deal. It had 18 bids placed on it. Hammer fell at $1,700. And here's one my daughter keeps telling me I need to bring home from these auctions. This is a 2013 Dodge Caravan, 82,261 miles. Pre-COVID, these things were selling in the mid to high 6,000 range, typically $6,700 to $6,900. You can come home with one. This one is in really nice condition. No dents or dings or scratches. This was not that way prior to the preview, so that's something recent that happened here. Just a minor scuff and scrape. I mean, that's the extent of it. The interior is really sharp. It's a 2-tone black and white interior, or maybe it's like a chalk and black. It's outstanding condition. Today though, the selling price on this thing, 50% higher than pre-COVID. This thing bid up to $10,100. Here's another one I was bidding on. It's a 1997 Chevy Tahoe. Mileage is something like 182,000 or so. It's not listed on the window any longer. It's actually, it was in really nice condition. Had a little rippling in the door and on the rear quarter panel right here. Some dings, not a big deal. The bumper's kind of saggy and hanging down. The interior was clean. I mean, it was like, there was trash discarded on the floor and so forth. But in terms of general cleanliness, it was good. Under the hood had some new air conditioning parts. Bidding on this thing was fairly low, just a couple minutes before the auction closed. It was in like the $800 range. I threw a bunch of bids in it. I went all the way up to $1,700 on my bids. Finally, I walked away, and the thing finally sold at $2,056 with 19 bids placed on it. And Caprice PPVs always get my attention every time they show up at this auction, especially ones in interesting colors like the blues and the greens that show up here. This one has a nice little divot right here in the hood. I'm trying to be respectful. These aren't my cars. I'm not going to pop the hood, but the hood latch, something's not aligned right there, or maybe something with the latch itself being closed, or the bumper's all messed up and mangled. The rear bumper is hanging off over here. It's in place now, but this isn't attached, just comes out. Mileage fairly modest at 102. It's a 9C1 interior. You know, I love these cars. I really do adore them. This one, to me, it felt more like a parts car, simply because of the problems with the body and the expense and the time and the effort in getting replacement body parts. If you can't fix that hood, for instance, and whatever framing might be damaged underneath the hood, if that's keeping the door from, or the hood from being latched, there's a ding here. This thing, I kind of termed it as a parts car, but maybe some other people feel differently. It bid all the way up to $5,400. And here's lot 930. It's one I didn't show in the preview video, but I really should have. I didn't think anybody would have any interest in this car, only because it looks like there's like a big gap right here and there's a bumper problem. But the big issue is the windshield. There isn't one. There's a wasp nest in there. The whole thing is a mess. The mirror's hanging off on both sides. Somebody really wanted this car. I'm shocked that anybody bid on it. It went all the way up to $1,805. That's right, $1,805, and somebody took this home. The problem is, what do you do with it? Is it just a parts car at this point? You know, the electrical, the electronics, everything inside is a mess. It's moldy, it's stinky, everything's ruined. So is it simply, you know, there to keep another Avenger on the road? I don't know. I'd be curious what the end result with this car is going to be. And here's the one that I came home with, 932. That's a 2008 Crown Vic. The odometer is dead on this one. I pulled the Carfax and they estimated mileage somewhere around 145-ish. You know, that's just a guesstimate based on the Carfax report. Now, this came from the Department of Justice. I really, really love this car. I had actually driven this very car, and in the door pocket, and it's not there now, was a gas card from the Department of Justice for this vehicle. I typically don't like the tan interior, but I like the tan interior with this color. I've never seen this. It's like a burgundy, brown, some combination. I like it a lot. Everything about this car screams like 50,000 mile vehicle. The way it drove, the way it rode, it was just solid and smooth. It was so comfortable. I was shocked by how soft and plush the seats are. That is like the worst part of the whole car. This could be like one of those very last Crown Vics that are going to show up at this auction. Just minor little blemishes right here. It needs a good cleaning and detailing. And look, I've got a plan for this car. You see, this past spring, I drove my Greenbrier from Washington, D.C. to Amelia Island, Florida for the Amelia Island Car Show. And I met up with about 20 other folks, and we did this drive together, and it was a blast. It was all back roads, small towns, fantastic hotels, fantastic dining. The whole experience was outstanding, and I'm looking forward to doing it again, but this time in a Crown Vic. And so my thought was, you know, can I mark this thing up, put a light bar on it, put a speaker in it, and have more fun with a car like this on this rally than I did with the Greenbrier. Now, the van was fun, but see, the roads were twisties and twining and small towns, and none of it was highway, and this would be a fantastic car for that drive. And so that's my vision with this right now. So paying $6,200 for the last Crown Vic here, you know, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I got a plan and I got a future with this thing, and I'm hoping it meets my expectations. Here's one that I thought was pretty cool to see. It's a 1995 Chevy. It's a P30. It has something like 37,000 miles on it. It used to be a fire and arson investigation van. The first part is the driver compartment. After that is like a workstation. There's a kitchen in the middle, and then the back is more workspace, like a dressing area or changing area. I was surprised to see this thing here, and I was surprised by the bidding too. It finally ended, even with the miles being super low, ended at $7,300. And right next to that is a 2008 Ford F-250. It's an XLT trim. This one surprised me. It's really clean. It's cleaner than I expected, especially for having like a snowplow attachment. I didn't see any rust. You know, this thing was worked and driven and used, but the condition is so nice. It makes me think it kept inside. It was used sparingly. I don't see like salt stains and like all the debris and all the mess that comes with trucks that are used for plowing and salting. This one doesn't look like that at all. I was surprised that the bidding ended at $10,000 even, with 22 bids placed on it. And then there was a couple Ford cargo vans. This one is a 2016 Transit, 15 passenger. Miles is at 91,000. Shocked at bidding, $26,250. 62 bids placed on it. And right next door, it's a 2013 Ford Transit, 115,000 miles, sold for $6,900. And at these auctions, there's always a handful of Ford Focuses. This is lot 905. It's a 2013, 80,000 miles, sold for $8,100. And right next to it, it's a 2014 Focus, a little less miles at 71,000, sold for a little more money, $8,700. So that's the auction update and selling prices. If you're interested in any future auctions here at the state of Delaware, go to US Gov Bid. I'll put a link in the description. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video.